an empire before which the world trembled, but without any final battle, it collapsed in silence. What really happened? The year is 1279. A vast power spread slowly across the map.
Starting from Europe, our journey heads east towards Asia. From there, we travel southeast towards India. Next, we head northeast to Japan. Finally, we travel south to Australia.
From the Sea of Japan to Eastern Europe, one empire, the Mongol Empire. The largest contiguous land empire in human history, nearly 25% of the Earth's land under their control. Their speed was like a storm. Their strikes were ruthless, their fear limitless.
They're coming! The warriors approach! What do they want? Protect the children! To the carts! We must defend ourselves!
I'm scared!
But less than a century later, it was all gone. No final battle, no last resistance, only a slow collapse. And this is where the story becomes strange. History books rush past this part, but there is a reason hidden deep. One that very few people talk about. Today, we will confront that question. What truly destroyed the most powerful empire of the medieval world? Where are you watching from? What time is it there right now? Let me know in the comments. Let's see how far this story reaches. And if you enjoy stories like this, subscribe and stay with us. Let's go back in time. The year is 1227. War rages on the land of China. Dust storms, clashing steel, thunder of hooves, dust storms, clashing steel, thunder of hooves. Genghis Khan is dead.
Forward for honor and victory! We ride as one! Charge now! Yeah!
He left behind something impossible, an empire stretching from the Pacific Ocean to the Caspian Sea. Bigger than Rome, bigger than the Caliphate. Everything was conquered, through speed, through strategy, through fear. But one question remained. How do you rule an empire that a man can conquer on horseback?
Forward, my steed! The empire awaits our command. Cities will fall, banners will rise!
But cannot govern from the saddle. The Mongols were nomads. Their life meant movement. South in winter, north to the steppes in summer, a yurt can be packed in under an hour. Their entire life built for movement, not for staying, but now they rule over China, with its complex administration, Persia, a civilization of thousands of years, cities where people live permanently. They farm the same land, live their lives in the same homes. Stability, what they call civilization.
Fresh bread! Best in the market! How much for two? 5 coins, my friend. Spices and herbs, come and see!
This is where the conflict begins. A moving people, ruling a static world. This is not just a difference. It was an impossible equation. This equation will begin to break. From within, silently. And when it breaks, it will drag the entire empire down with it. In the next part, the struggle for power begins. This impossible equation was the hidden crack inside the Mongol Empire. It wasn't visible from the outside, but inside it was weakening everything. The Mongols followed a different rule. The empire wasn't anyone's personal property. It belonged to the entire royal family. Genghis Khan divided the lands among his 4 sons.
Commanders, this map charts our path to dominance. The western flank is vulnerable, my lord. Our forces are ready to advance. Then we march at dawn. Victory will be ours.
Yochi, Chagatai, Ogedei, Tolui, but he chose one above all, the great Khan Ogedei. Ogedei was a symbol of balance. He didn't seek power, he accepted responsibility. Everyone respected him. Under his rule, the empire didn't stop. It expanded even faster. 1241, the map surged like a storm. Budapest destroyed, knocking on Europe's door. Next target, Vienna. Then one event changes everything.
Our Khan has fallen. We must honor his legacy.
Aye. His spirit rides with the eternal blue sky.
The warriors look to us now.
December 1241. Ogedei dies. Right at the moment when Europe was about to be invaded. What happens next is not a battle, it's chaos. For 2 years, no Great Khan, no central authority. Princes abandon the war and return. The struggle for power begins, the Mongol army stops, and Europe survives, not because of strength, not because of courage, but because of the enemy's internal collapse. 1246, Guyuk takes power, but only 2 years. Then death again. Another crisis, another conflict. Here, the truth becomes clear. An empire built on extraordinary individuals cannot last long. Strong leader, strong empire, weak leader, collapse. 1251. Mongol Khan rises to power.
Warriors of the steppe, forward to victory! For the Khan, hurry up! Advance, let the earth tremble!
This wasn't just a new ruler, it was a shift in power. Ogedei to Tolui, not everyone accepted it. Still, Mongol reunifies the empire. War begins again, responsibilities are divided. Kublai to China, Hulagu to west. 1258, Hulagu reaches Baghdad, a city, 500 years of history, knowledge, power, civilization. Then, one strike. The city collapses, everything ends. But this victory was the beginning of a greater disaster. An invisible enemy, one no one could see, and it was the deadliest of all. This victory was not truly a victory.
Warriors, the city is before us. Knock your arrows, prepare for battle. Forward to victory.
It was the beginning of an invisible disaster, something no one understood at the time. As Mongol armies spread from Central Asia into Iraq and Iran, they unknowingly awakened a sleeping danger. Deep in the Tian Shan Mountains, a bacterium lay hidden inside small animals called marmots. Plague, silent, invisible, deadly. At the time, no one could see it coming.
Fresh dates today, sir?
Aye, the ripest. 2 for a copper?
Pardon, coming through. A fine vessel, what do you ask?
5 coppers, or trade for your bread.
But within a few decades, it would kill more than 100 million people across Eurasia. History would remember it as the Black Death, 1259. Another shock. Mongol Khan dies in the middle of the campaign in China, only around 50 years old. No clear successor. This moment was the Mongol Empire's point of no return. As soon as the news arrived, 2 brothers stepped forward.
We challenge your rule! Your time is over! Fools! You dare! We do! Face us! So be it! To arms!
Kublai, Arik Bokeh, both of them declare, "I am the Great Khan." Kublai, in China, backed by those who wanted the empire to change, to settle down, to learn from conquered civilizations. On the other side, Arik Bokeh, in the Mongol homeland, backed by those who wanted to remain on the old path, nomadic life, the old identity. This was not just a power struggle, it was, who are we? What will we become? From 1260 to 1264, 4 years, brother against brother. The empire was at war with itself. In the end, Kublai wins. This victory came at a heavy cost. While civil war raged within, everything outside began to break apart. In the West, the Golden Horde begins to break away. Russia, Eastern Europe, a power of its own. In 1262, they even go to war with Hulagu's Ilkhanate. In Central Asia, the Chagatai Khanate follows its own path. In Persia, the Ilkhanate remains loyal to Kublai, but it is thousands of miles away. Staying united is no longer possible. 1264, Kublai secures victory. But by then, the empire is no longer one.
Soldiers, the enemy awaits! Advance with courage! For honor and victory! Forward to the battlefield!
4 fragments, 4 powers. each for itself, often against the others. This is where historians say, this is the end of the unified Mongol Empire. Now only one question remains. How long can each one survive? Kublai makes a bold decision.
This decree must be enforced without delay.
Yes, my lord.
Any who resist will face severe consequences. We understand and obey.
1271, he declares the Yuan dynasty, not just a Mongol empire, but a Chinese dynasty. He moves the capital from Karakoram to Khanbalik, modern Beijing. Many Mongols could not accept it. To them, it felt like betrayal. Genghis Khan had said, the empire belongs on the saddle, not in a stone palace, but now his grandson sits inside a Chinese palace, ruling through Chinese systems, performing Confucian-style ceremonies.
Your Majesty, the ministers present their reports for your review.
We shall review them.
Proceed with the accounts.
Yes, Your Majesty.
The Mongols had conquered the world, but now the world was changing them. And this change would not become their strength, but their weakness. The Mongols had conquered the world, but now their real struggle began.
Generals, the time has come. We march on the western provinces.
My lord, the terrain is treacherous.
Our spies have mapped the passes. We will prevail. Understood. The army stands ready.
For the Empire!
The struggle to preserve their own existence. Kublai Khan was not a weak ruler. If anything, he was exceptional. In 1279, he finally defeated the southern Song dynasty. All of China came under his control. After that, he did not only wage war, he built a massive postal system, one that accelerated communication across the empire. He introduced paper currency to expand trade. He protected religious freedom. He invited scholars from different corners of the world.
The alignment of the stars here is crucial.
Indeed, it guides the ship's path. But the map shows a different course. Let me mark the discrepancy. A wise adjustment.
Even a traveler from Venice arrived, Marco Polo. But, like every powerful ruler, he had his mistakes. And those mistakes would reshape the empire's future. 1274, Kublai decides to invade Japan. A massive fleet is assembled.
快点办，别耽误了船期。货物要放稳，小心轻放。继续装，检查绳索。
But there was one problem. The Mongols were warriors of the land. The sea was not their element. Then the storm arrives. A devastating storm. The entire fleet is destroyed. The Japanese gave it a name, kamikaze, meaning the divine wind. But Kublai did not stop. 1281. An even larger fleet, 4,400 ships, 140,000 men, then another storm, this time even more destructive. The ships crash into one another. They break apart. They sink. The entire campaign is ruined. The cost of these two invasions equal to the economy of many nations. And that was only Japan.
Advisors, Japan has failed us. We must forge a new path. Our strategy begins here. Prepare for the campaign.
Then came Vietnam, 3 times, Burma, Java. Every time, huge resources spent, no real gain. The problem was not Kublai, the problem was the system itself. An empire built on conquest. When conquest stops, everything stops. The Mongols gained wealth through plunder, but now, opportunities for conquest are shrinking. The costs are rising. The result? Their main source of income begins to dry up. Taxes, not enough.
Here are the proceeds from the silk sale.
Very good. Let me record it. And here is the payment for the spices. I see. Pour it out. I have the rest.
And on top of that, corruption. Now a deeper question emerges. The Mongols had conquered China, Persia, the most advanced civilizations on Earth. But to govern them, they had to adopt the rules of those civilizations. And if they did, they would begin to lose their own identity. Kublai tries to keep the balance. He creates two capitals, Shangdu or Xanadu, near the steppe for hunting and preserving nomadic life, Dadu or Beijing for governing China. He divides society into 4 ranks. 1. Mongols at the top. 2. West Asians. 3. North Chinese. 4. South Chinese at the bottom. He forbids marriage between Mongols and Chinese. Mongol women do not adopt the Chinese custom of foot binding. No matter how hard they try, one truth does not change. The Mongols were a minority, and they were ruling tens of millions of people.
Warriors of the Empire, our enemies gather on the horizon. For the Empire! Your loyalty will be rewarded. March with me to victory. Yes, my lord!
The Chinese saw them as barbarians. They were waiting for one opportunity. The Mongols looked strong from the outside, but inside everything was weakening. And when that internal pressure could no longer be contained, everything would collapse at once. In the next part, culture, religion, and an invisible pandemic, how they deliver the final blow. The pressure within is no longer just political or economic.
Warriors, the enemy is at our gates. For the Empire! Today we fight for our honor, for our homes. For victory! Advance and show no mercy.
It is spreading into culture, into identity, and slowly into unity itself. What was happening in Persia where it was strange? At first, the Ilkhanate was brutal. Baghdad destroyed, the caliph killed. But with time, something begins to change. The conquerors begin to change. 1295. Mahmud Ghazan Khan declares, Islam will be the state religion. This was not just a change of religion, it was a reverse conquest. Those who had been conquered were now conquering culturally. One by one, the Khanates begin to change.
We come in peace to parley.
Welcome. What is your purpose?
We seek knowledge and alliance. Then let us speak.
Ilkhanate to Islam, Golden Horde to Islam, Chagatai Khanate to Islam. Only the Yuan in China keeps Buddhism and Tengri belief. And this is where the problem begins. Different religions, different cultures. Unity begins to break apart. They are no longer one family. They are now potential enemies. Now we come to the reason, the one very few people mention. History books say the Black Death began in the 1340s. But modern science says the story began much earlier. In the Tian Shan Mountains of Central Asia, a bacterium lived inside small animals called marmots. Yersinia pestis, quiet, contained. It sometimes spread to humans, but never on a massive scale. Then the Mongols arrive, 1218, Arrow conquest of Kara Kitai, 1232, Arrow siege of Kaifeng. Hundreds of thousands of soldiers, millions of horses, massive movement of people and goods. The ecological balance is broken. Plague-carrying fleas jump from one animal to another, to humans. Scientists call this the Big Bang of plague, a sudden dispersal, from which 4 new genetic lineages emerge. All of them linked to the Black Death. The plague begins to spread along Mongol trade routes. To the east, to the west, 1232 to 1233, Kaifeng, nearly 1 million deaths. Some say famine, others say the first major plague blow. 1258, the Baghdad campaign. Plague may have reached Iraq and Iran. The plague did not explode right away.
Hail, traveler. What news? The eastern roads are clear. Any word from the market? Trade is good. Come, let's talk inside. I'll stable the horse and join you.
It spread silently. Across different regions, it formed new hidden reservoirs, then the 1330s. Possibly climate change or an earthquake. Something triggers it. 1346, near the Black Sea, Kaffa, a trading port. There is a story. The Mongols were besieging the city. Plague breaks out in their camp. They hurl dead bodies into the city. The story is not fully certain.
What happened here?
He just collapsed! I saw it!
Was he attacked? Stand back! No wounds. A sickness, perhaps.
We must find the source!
happen, one thing is certain. Genoese ships flee. They reach Sicily in 1347. Death spreads across Europe. At least 100 million dead, possibly 200 million. For the Mongol Empire, it was catastrophic. Rulers die, military strength weakens, economies collapse, trade along the Silk Road breaks down. The Mongols had built a world connected, fast, unstoppable. That same network became a road for death. In the next part, after all of this, how the entire empire falls apart, one piece at a time. The vast world the Mongols had built, connected, fast and unprecedented, now turned against them. The roads that once carried trade now carried death. And from there began the final chapter of collapse. The first to fall was the Ilkhanate in 1335. Many historians believe the plague played a major role in its fall.
Behold, the map shows a vast world.
Indeed, this route could lead to great discoveries. We must plan our expedition carefully. Let us mark the paths and begin.
In the words of historian Christopher Beckwith, the pandemic took many Mongol rulers and nobles, weakened the army, and shattered local economies. History offers few harsher examples of unintended consequences. The Mongols had created the greatest intercontinental trade and communication system of their age, the Pax Mongolica. But in the end, that same network became a highway of death. Meanwhile, Kublai Khan's death in 1294 shook the foundations of the Yuan Empire. From the outside, the empire still looked immense, but inside the cracks were spreading fast. And the oldest problem returned once again, the succession crisis, from 1308 to 1333. In just 25 years, 8 emperors took the throne. 2 were assassinated, almost all died young. With no clear rule of succession, each death sparked a new struggle for power. At the very moment the empire needed strong, steady central leadership the most, the Mongols were wasting their strength in civil conflict.
Your presence before me is an affront.
Mercy, Great One, we implore you!
Silence. Your pleas mean nothing.
We are but humble servants!
Then prove your loyalty.
And during this time, another storm was gathering inside China. Public anger, heavy taxes, the burden of failed wars, a bureaucracy drowning in corruption, flooding of the Yellow River, famine caused by failed agricultural policy, disease, poverty, and uncertainty. Together, all of it meant Mongol rule no longer symbolized strength to ordinary people, it had become another name for suffering. Then the fire ignited. In the 1350s, rebellions erupted across China. The largest was the Red Turban movement. This was not just a political rebellion.
Warriors of the rising sun, hear my call! The enemy approaches, but we will not falter. Stand with me, fight with honor, and victory will be ours!
It fused Buddhist religious passion, popular anger, and anti-Mongol nationalism into one force. And from that rebellion emerged an unexpected figure, Zhu Yuanzhang, a poor peasant who had once been a Buddhist monk. But history often chooses the determination of the hungry over the sword when it is time to break an empire. In 1368, Zhu Yuanzhang's forces entered Dadu, modern-day Beijing. The last Yuan emperor, Togon Temur, was forced to flee so quickly that he could not even take the imperial treasury with him. An era came to an end. The Yuan dynasty collapsed. Zhu Yuanzhang founded the Ming dynasty and became the Hongwu emperor.
10,000 years to the emperor.
10,000 years!
May the dynasty endure.
Endure!
The Mongols retreated back to their old steppes. Oiks, they tried to survive as the northern Yuan, but they never regained China. The picture in the west was no different. The Ilkhanate had already shattered in 1335, splintering into small states. The Chagatai Khanate also weakened and drifted toward fragmentation. The Golden Horde lasted the longest, but it too suffered from the same disease: civil war, division, and outside pressure. Russia slowly began to rise. Finally, in 1480, when Ivan III refused to pay tribute to the Golden Horde, It was seen as the effective end of Mongol dominance over Russia, and so the largest contiguous land empire in human history quietly disappeared. No single final battle, no dramatic surrender, only gradual erosion from within, from every side. The empire once thought invincible dissolved under the weight of time, bad choices, internal fracture, and pandemic. Here we have to pause, because this story is not only about what happened, it also asks why it happened. Why could an empire so powerful, so fast, and so terrifying not endure in the end? There were 7 major reasons behind it. All of them were connected. Each one intensified the others.
All of them were connected. Fading edges, broken roots, fragmentation lines intensified by the others. Systemic breakdown, the reasons.
The first reason, fundamental structural contradiction. The Mongols were nomads, but they were ruling sedentary civilizations. To do that, they had to change, and once they changed, they lost the strengths that had made them powerful. In other words, to survive, they had to transform. But the more they transformed, the weaker they became. There was no easy solution to that contradiction. The second reason, overexpansion. The empire had grown so vast that it was nearly impossible for one person to control it. And once it was divided, multiple power centers were born. Those centers eventually turned into rivals. There was no fast communication, information flow, or transportation like we have today, so in the end, holding unity across such a massive empire was nearly impossible. But that is not the whole story, because 5 more reasons still remain. And they will show you how an empire can be destroyed not only from the outside, but from within. These were only the beginning. Now the real causes come into view. The causes that together slowly bring down an empire once thought invincible, a minority ruling over a majority.
Warriors and people of the realm, hear my call!
We hear and obey!
Our enemies tremble before our unity and strength!
For victory and honor!
Forward to destiny!
The Mongols made up less than 2% of the empire's population. They had won through strength, but when that strength weakened, they no longer had the numbers to hold on to power. An economy dependent on plunder, this empire had been built on conquest, loot, seized wealth, but when conquest stopped, the economy stopped with it. No sustainable system had been built in time. A chronic succession crisis.
Warriors, the throne awaits our oath!
We pledge our steel and lives!
Then rise and claim our destiny!
There was no clear rule of succession. Each new generation meant civil war, a struggle for power. It drained resources, it fractured the empire. Cultural assimilation in reverse. The Mongols believed they would change the people they conquered. The opposite happened.
My people, hear me! Our enemies gather at the borders. We must march now united! Follow me to victory!
Each Khanate adopted local cultures and religions, and with that, unity disappeared. The plague, the invisible killer, the least discussed cause, but the most devastating. It killed millions, destroyed economies, disrupted trade. It weakened rulers and ordinary people alike. There was no single cause, it was everything together. A perfect storm, internal contradiction, bad decisions, fragmentation, and disasters beyond control. Together, they brought an empire to its end. So now the question is, what do we learn? Lesson 1. Success does not guarantee survival. The Mongols were the greatest warriors of their age. But the skills that win empires are not the same skills that govern them. Even today, many companies and nations make the same mistake. They know how to grow, but not how to endure. Lesson 2. Not every problem can be solved by willpower alone.
The time for action is now. Mobilize the forces to the Eastern Front. Victory will be ours.
Kublai Khan was a genius. He could not resolve the contradiction between nomadic and sedentary life. Some problems have no easy solution. Sometimes you are forced to choose between two incompatible paths. Lesson 3. Systems built on individuals are fragile. The Mongol Empire functioned well when it had leaders like Genghis, Ogedei, Mongke, and Kublai. When ordinary leadership arrived, everything began to collapse. Strong institutions are necessary, not just strong individuals. Lesson 4. Unintended consequences. The Mongols had built the greatest trade network in the world, but that same network spread death.
We must press on across this plain. Yes, we are ready to follow. Let our steps echo through the ages.
To the horizon and beyond!
Even today, climate change pandemics teach the same lesson. Lesson 5. Diversity, strength or weakness. Adopting different cultures made local rule easier. It destroyed imperial unity. Balance is everything. Lesson 6. No empire lasts forever. Rome fell. The Mongols fell. The British Empire fell too. Everything has an end. The question is not whether it will fall. No. The real question is when and how. In the final part, the ending of this story, and its most powerful message. The question was never if it would fall. The real question was when and how. The end of the Mongol Empire, it was not an explosion, not a final battle. It was a sigh, a slow falling apart. No Waterloo, no official surrender, only the slow erosion of power with time. The once mighty Khanates fade into history, but their impact remains. The trade routes they built connected east and west. They laid the groundwork for the future age of exploration. The Pax Mongolica spread technology, spread knowledge, spread ideas. It connected one world to another. Some of the boundaries they shaped still survive in certain places today. Russia, parts of China. The nations once ruled by them often shaped their national identity through resistance to Mongol rule.
Soldiers, hold the line. The enemy approaches from the horizon. Stay vigilant. Prepare for battle.
But the most important thing is this, what this story teaches us. No power lasts forever, no success is permanent, and small decisions can reshape the future in ways no one expects. The Mongol Empire did not collapse for one single reason. No one can point to one cause and say, this alone ended it. It was internal contradiction, bad decisions, succession crises, cultural transformation, economic weakness, and a pandemic they themselves helped spread. Together, it becomes a complex story, one with no simple answer. This is not just a story of heroes and villains. It is a story about people.
We approach the city in unity and strength.
The people await your guidance, my lord.
Father, is the palace very grand? It is magnificent, little one.
People who made choices in their own time, and those choices created consequences that no one could fully foresee. If this story changed how you think, let me know in the comments. In your view, what is the greatest lesson of the Mongol Empire's fall?
The scales are uneven.
They must be balanced.
And if you want more deep cinematic history like this, don't forget to subscribe, turn on the notification bell, give this video a like so YouTube knows quality content deserves to spread. Share it with friends who love history. In the next video, maybe the fall of Rome, maybe Napoleon's mistakes. What would you like to see? Write it below. Because history is not just the past, it is a warning for the future.